My great pleasure to welcome Dr. H.R. Shymala ma'am today in our session, which focuses on essentially critical issue, that is the recovery of endangered species. Shymala ma'am is a seasoned educator with an illustrious teaching career spanning 37 years, including over 31 years with Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan. She holds a B.Ed degree from Annamala University and a diploma in career guidance and counseling, showcasing her commitment to both the pedagogy and student well-being. From 2005 to 2008, she served as PhD biology at the Embassy of India School, Moscow, under the aegis of KBS. She has been an active contributor to the academic and co-curricular initiatives, serving as the chief coordinator for the press interface during the National Science Congress 2023, managing media coverage for major events like the Regional Sports Meet, International Yoga Day, and the Zonal Scouts and Guides Rajya Puraskar Testing Camp in 2022. Shymala ma'am has received several accolades, including the Best Teacher honor from IIHM Bengaluru and the Shiksha Shri Award from Keshav Vidyalaya Trust. She has also been honored by the Ministry of HRD for securing second place in the Green School project under CSE and received recognition from ICT WOW Initiative, Toyota Samagra Shiksha Kendra Karnataka, and Max Life Insurance. Her community impact is further amplified through regular contributions to All India Radio's Yuva Vani segment, where she addresses youth-centric topics such as drug addiction during COVID-19, exam stress, and career guidance. Ma'am, we welcome you.
Thank you so much, Sumanji.
Stop sharing and please take us the lead to the...
Thank you so much, ma'am. And thank you, Bhavans, for providing this online platform to talk to learned people and able and guided colleagues under the mentorship of Dr. A.K. Sharma, sir. I've been like a child being taken care by him right from my inception to this iconic education institution, Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan. I remain indebted to KVS for providing me great leaders and mentors who could shape this irregular stone into a tiny little pebble that I am available to people on such portals. Thank you, Sharma sir. Thank you, Suman ma'am. And before I start my presentation, I have been enjoying the sessions that are presented by wonderful speakers over here. And there's a great learning happening in this process. And often when we are not seen offline, the learner tends to lose the interest in picking up what we are saying. But nevertheless, the topics chosen are so intricate and the need of the hour. And I feel we can keep speaking hours together about endangered species, how to recover. But how does a commoner get to know about this? In fact, me as a counselor would always fold hands to the government of India, just like reshaping the education policy of 1986 to 2020. Why not incorporate such matter of great concerns in every step of learning? Today, every parent is proud of having their child as a computer science engineer, having a child as a would-be doctor for the society, But how many of we parents are keen and happy to tell our people that my child is taking care of the endangered species? This is the biggest challenge. We are not prioritizing these aspects to be the scope of learning for a future generation. We talk about Instagram as a media. We talk about Twitters. We talk about reels which are made by many, I'm sorry to use this word, incompetent in the field of camera or technology. But the craving for many people to like their work, even though it is unprofessionally presented. When are we going to see reels of such endangered species? I'm very happy to share with you the National Award for Teacher recipient for this year was none other than a computer science teacher, Ashok Sen Gupta from PM Shri KV Jalahali number 1, Bengaluru. His National Award for Teacher was more well-designed, articulated, and focused on butterflies of India. It's difficult to even understand that a computer science teacher could take so much of interest in butterflies. How could he generate a butterfly garden in his Vidyalaya premises? Should we always look for something to be lost so that we recreate it in the society? No. How did he get time? He also shares 24 hours like me and you all share 24 hours in a day. It is the interest that needs to be inculcated. It is a passion that has to be driven in the minds of these small age kids. Just by mere telling that we have so many animals, we have so many plants, will not nail it to their heart and soul. The question of recovery of endangered species come only when we come to know why this day has been projected with so much of importance. Why was it not taken a priority before? With due respect to all the learned people in this online learning, let's look back as to why this National Endangered Species Day is celebrated. Or when was it diagnosed that this particular day has to be celebrated as a National Endangered Species Day? In fact, when I addressed Bhavan's learned people 4 years back during the COVID times, it was acidification of ocean. I was utter delighted. I was shocked. I was tensed and I was upset. With what? How much of destruction we selfish human beings have created to these innocent plants and animals. I was focusing mainly on the enhancement of the carbon dioxide content in the water, and that stepping up the carbonic acid in the water, and how the animals were struggling to breathe and extract oxygen dissolved in water. Today I'm going to speak about the National Endangered Species Day, which has been marked on the calendar to be celebrated on the third Friday of May every year. So we've just recently passed over this day, and that was the 16th of May, 2025. For this day to be marked, we need the nation to be moved with us. It's very difficult for me to see any child telling me, ma'am, I'm opting to learn pure science in my graduation? Who is to be blamed? Is it the societal demands? Or is it the lack of parental advocacy? Yes, our child can do miracles by doing this. I recently was having a session at another prestigious institution of Karnataka, where one teacher in the interactive session rose up from her seat and said, "Ma'am, I have a serious problem." I said, "Come on, go ahead." She said, "My child is always asking about animals. He loves animals. He loves these pets. He loves to domesticate the wild animals." So I said, "What's wrong?" "Ma'am, today the world is full of devices which run very fast. Every child is busy with the mobile. And all the time we look into our devices, we see artificial intelligence." So I said, "What are you trying to nail your child for? Interested in animals? He will not earn his bread." If this is the thought, how do we conserve these endangered species? As it is, I see the world is so fast and we don't have time for anyone. Forget about animals and plants. We're not bothered about anything. So such days being observed, make it a mandate on the calendar. But are we making it a mandate to ensure that every individual is concerned about these innocent, unseen, unhurt plant or animal species? At this point, as a counselor too, I wish to share with you that I want the government to include these subjects as one of the mandate, along with, let it be a technical graduation. Let it be a non-technical graduation. Like in engineering, we've got English subject. We've got political affairs as a subject. Probably the need for having consensus about these aspects became a mandate. Why are only specialized NGOs collaborating to support this cause? Why is it that only celebrities, when make a move, they feel they're doing a great job? And is it because we love these celebrities that we need to move ahead with them on these specific days just to be watched and liked by the fans? In fact, when we talk about endangered species, how did we list them? For this, we need to get back to the IUCN Red List. I think we have just a concept laid in our last 3 lessons of the environmental issues in class 12 NCERT textbook. Look at the location of the lesson. I'm jeopardized by seeing it at the end of the textbook. Majority of the teachers, with due respect, give it as a PowerPoint presentation to the child and say, "You can read it by yourself." If our motivation is left to a PowerPoint presentation, how do you expect the kids to move forward in taking care of our resources? Now, this red list came into picture because red symbolizes something. We are in trouble. Who are in trouble? Both the animals and the plants. You can see here 9 such blocks that are indicated in the slide. If you see, there are many of them which come and not evaluated, a few of them in the data in deficiency about them. We're not going to explore them. Some of them are least concerned, some near to threatening, some are vulnerable. That means they are likely to be lost from our world or planet. And maybe we look forward to Walt Disney making movies like Jurassic and make our children realize that, look, these animals existed once upon a time. They look like this. They are no more amidst us. And all we can see is just an animated movie. Now, here we have in the red list endangered species. More severe are the critically endangered. Then you have the extinct in the wild. Now, when I say extinct in the wild means the genome of these organisms don't exist at all. Extinct is they're lost. Whenever we talk about extinct, I know kids just stand up and say, ma'am, dinosaur. That means we have constricted our knowledge to that which are not seen anymore. I remember 40 years back when my brother moved to the United States. After 2 years, he had a daughter. And Sundays we used to talk because our telecommunications was not very strong. We didn't have mobiles. And I said, hey, what's your plan this weekend? He said, I'm going to the farmyard. I said, for what joy? I have to show my daughter, a 2-year-old daughter, how a cow looks like. Oh, I gave a big laugh. I said, why, your daughter hasn't seen cows or what? He said, no, unfortunately not in the United States. All she imagines is cow is a miniature as fit into the diagram of the animal book. If this is what we are showing to a child, I think majority of the animals will just get sized into the animal book if the parent can afford to buy these books and show it to the child. But today, what are we going to say? We'll say endangered animals are the ones that are in danger of becoming extinct. Next, the child asks, what is extinct? Oh, that which is no more available. Okay, how was it when it was available? Again, it's become a picturesque. So we have many animals on this planet Earth, which are very few in number. They are scared of us instead of we being scared of them. And the talk given by Professor Sir just before me also focused on climate change. Who is responsible? Yesterday also when I joined the session, I saw climate change. He also focused on, we started with steam engine and now we are moving to electric engine. We are moving to metros. Is the change required? Yes. Was the progress inevitable? Yes. Today, we are very happy that we are making innovations. Oh my God, today we are having harnessing of solar energy. Solar energy existed then also. But we fail to use it because we are keen on using what is available right in front of our eyes. We are not keen on making efforts. And because of this, we fulfill not our needs, but our greeds as shared by Mahatma Gandhi ji. Now, to name them, some of the endangered animals are the Javan rhino, orangutan, Amur leopards, etc. You'll be shocked to know that there are many animals which are endangered in India. Now, this screenshot is showing you the mountain gorillas are vanishing. The Tapanuli orangutan. I remember once when I was young, I'd seen an orangutan and our knowledge was confined to zoos. I feel miserable thinking of zoos. I remember the Mysore Zoo, which was a favorite hometown of mine. And all the time I went to zoo, I showed my kids 2 giraffes that were gifted to government of Karnataka, and they remained 2 for a long time. And my kids used to ask me, Mama, why there are no more than 2 giraffes? You know the answer. All the time, they have no privacy. They're exposed to the public that comes to watch them, paying them the peanuts tickets. The giraffe has not been able to produce another giraffe at all. I remember to have seen orangutan there, and people were throwing the used cigarette butts on them. Who should be educated? If I focus on the talks given by our previous speaker and yesterday's speaker, we talk about climate change. What has happened to the human mind, which has degraded so badly in the concern for these endangered species? Let's have a look at the animals which are endangered in India. Oh, look at this Bengal tiger, Asiatic lion, the snow leopard, one-horned rhinoceros, the black buck, the lion-tailed macaw, the tree frog, the Kashmiri red stag. Probably like my brother, a day will come when I have to take my grandchild, not to zoos, but to places where they are safe and happy in their own homes. That we are going to talk about it about in situ conservation. Now, when we talk about animals, they look so fierce, they look so big and so scary. What about these innocent plants? Many plants are endangered. I'm thankful to the government of India, which asked us to put a ban on purchase of preserved animals into the biology laboratories. I hope all of you are on the same page with me as biology teachers. ICT has come into our rescue. We can show them through these presentations or YouTubes, and we no more use them. In fact, I remember Rafflesia, one of the biggest flower. It just remained as the word biggest flower. I saw Venus flytrap and the green pitcher plant when I was brought up in Northeast. Land excavations, huge landslides, deteriorating the nutrient content of the soil is not enabling them to survive anymore. I'm sure we are aware that these plants which are insectivorous are growing in soil which are deficient in particular nutrients. So invariably there is modification and adaptation to digest insects which are rich in the nutrients that are not available to the plants through soil. But if we are urbanizing ourselves, removing the soil, where do these insectivorous plants go? They're going to be endangered, and one fine day, we are just going to stick to ICT, and then we will claim excessive use of ICT, and we have been very effective, very efficient in delivering the goods to the kids. We are not having trips that can make it happen for we to take the kids to these places where it is available. Kids also, when I talk about educational trip, especially when I see the PM Shri guidelines for Kendriya Vidyalayas, they have specific areas mentioned where we need to take the child. But when we talk about educational trip in the class, the child is focused on, ma'am, where are we going this time? Oh, I tell them we're going to the Gandhi Krishi Vigyana Kendra. Oh my God. Yes, ma'am. Oh my God, what am I to do? What are we going to learn in Krishi Vigyana Kendra? This is the voice of the child today. So many plant species, breeders, seeds, breeders, crops. Believe me, it's heaven on earth. I enjoy getting back to GKVK, and I feel students can really have a turning point. Really, they'll have a turning point if they visit. I believe in, seeing is believing. And this PowerPoint presentation will not inculcate the core concept that we wish to into the learner. We find there are so many gymnosperms that are not able to survive. We find there are so many plants which are not able to modify their genome because of the climatic change. We are responsible for this. And that is also one of the reasons to make the plant species endangered. Now, when we talk about who is responsible, there are human-driven factors. We have this in our syllabus also. And the NCERT textbook focuses on sixth evolution, which is more dangerous and unimaginable. And class 12th exam paper also include a question. What was the sixth evolution? 5 evolutions were normal and natural, but the sixth one was something very, very drastic. It's talking about human-driven factors, habitat destruction, climate change, poaching. In fact, I am really upset with the laws that are not stringent against poachers. Why is it that people get a lenient, clean watch just because they're capable of overcoming the fine and the penalty that is levied upon them by the government? If laws are strict to every individual, I'm sure no one will take initiative to destroy. I'm not going to talk about climate change. Enough has been spoken by the previous speakers. Habitat destruction has been, talking about like, hey, we need urbanization. I see my Bengaluru. I'm totally stressed out. I don't like my Bengaluru anymore. Bengaluru is supposed to be one of the best state, especially with reference to climate. Today, I see the climate is destroyed. I see my neighborhood is in the form of a swimming pool. People are not able to move. If we are in stress, think of the innocent plants and animals. But what are the conservation initiatives? Public awareness campaigns. This cannot happen in 1 or 2 days and carrying a banner and walking on the streets and saying, hey, look, we need to conserve. No, it doesn't go deep into the heart of an individual. Your legal protections. Oh my God, the clearance of any legal action is so lengthy. Tariq pe tariq, tariq pe tariq, and I don't find anything fruitful coming out because these cannot voice out. How much are we taking care as far as encompassing habitat preservation is concerned? Now let's just have a look at one of the videos. So beautiful. It just caught my eyes and I felt we should play this, right? I hope you'll enjoy this. Let's see.
You can probably name quite a few endangered species. Polar bear, blue whale, and black rhino are just a few. But there are many more that don't get so much attention. There are currently around 16,500 animals and plants that are endangered. An endangered species is one that is at a high risk of becoming extinct, which is when there are no longer any members of that species alive. Lots of species are going extinct every single day. Sometimes this is because of natural causes. Extinction is part of evolution after all. But many more because of human activity. In fact, because of humans, the rate of extinction is estimated to be 1,000 to 10,000 times higher than what would occur naturally. This is the highest rate since the extinction of the dinosaurs 65 million years ago. Conservation is the act of protecting species against becoming endangered. It's all about preserving biodiversity. If you want to learn more about biodiversity and why it matters, watch this video. You might wonder why it's such a big deal. Why does it matter if the population of a species decreases so much that it is endangered? Surely, if there are few individuals, such as those in zoos, then a species can recover. The problem is that the key to having a healthy population is genetic variation. Within a population, you need a large variety of different characteristics so that a species can adapt if there is a change in the environment and avoid becoming extinct. This can happen if all the members of the species have similar genes. Also, in a small population, there is a high chance of inbreeding, where closely related individuals breed. This can increase the risk of offspring having inherited conditions. So large wild populations are important for a species' survival. There are many reasons why a species might become endangered. It can happen because of habitat destruction, climate change, overfishing or hunting, and the introduction of invasive species to habitats which outcompete the native ones. We have an ethical duty to help preserve all the species on Earth, and this is done by carrying out conservation. Let's look at a few methods used. Firstly, endangered animals can be housed in wildlife parks. This protects them. And also captive breeding programs can be used to increase their numbers. They help educate people about conservation and how we can all help protect endangered species. They also help the general public to form an emotional connection to these endangered species. However, there are disadvantages to animals in captivity. The animals do not lead a normal life, and there is risk of inbreeding. A way of protecting animals in their natural habitat is by creating protected areas like national parks. Trees cannot be cut down, roads and houses can't be built, and hunting of the animals is illegal. Rangers are employed to make sure this is enforced. It's not just animals. Plants are also at risk. An amazing 70% of plant species are endangered, so it's vital that we help protect them too. As well as using protected areas, plants that are endangered are preserved by collecting seeds and storing them in seed banks. If a plant does become extinct, the seeds can be grown to restore their populations. To recap, an endangered species is one that is at risk from extinction, the main causes of which are human activities. Protecting vulnerable species is called conservation, and there are many methods to do so, including wildlife parks and protected areas.
Now, when we talk about protected areas, I remember many anecdotes where our grandmother used to always say, don't go and touch the tulsi plant, Ocimum sanctorum. And especially, she was empowered. After the puja, she would go and then, offer prayers and pour water. And because of the religious approach, I think Ocimum sanctorum survived till today. Otherwise, I don't think we would have given a bit of even concern for that plant. I remember even in Nashik, Shirdi, the abode of Sai Baba, there is a neem tree, Azadi Rachta indica. That's totally protected. This police maneuvering that tree, and it has sequential senescence. The leaves gradually fall down as per their age. The older ones fall first, the younger ones later. And no public is allowed to touch these leaves. What is the ground on which it is? They are not using the word religious. They just say, no, it belongs to Sai Baba. And this is the tree under which he sat and he preached people and he attained salvation. So it is holy. Don't touch it. I'm thankful to the authority of Shirdi, who at least protected that neem plant. Not that all neem plants are destroyed, but if everything had to get a religious anecdote, it's difficult to be justifying for every tiny animal or a plant that has all the right to survive, but we're not able to justify it. It's something God created. That's it. So here, even in our textbook, they have included the evil quartet, which is solely responsible for losing biodiversity. That is habitat loss and fragmentation, overexploitation, alien species invasion, and co-extinction. I don't have to deal with this because we've been teaching this to our students every year. But the question is, how do we recover them? One interesting video captured my mind, that is, how do invasive species impact endangered species recovery? I'll just share it with you. I hope you also like it. And Joshi ma'am, am I on time? I can use another 4 or 5 minutes?
Yeah, 5 minutes, ma'am.
Yeah, because I know my
Continue.
10 minutes were overlapped by the previous speaker, but I don't want
Yeah,
to
please, ma'am.
disturb your
No.
schedule. So I thought I'll
Please,
keep
you can
it calm.
continue. Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
Yes.
How do invasive species impact endangered species recovery? Imagine walking through a vibrant forest, filled with the sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves. Now, picture that same forest overrun by unfamiliar plants and animals that disrupt the natural balance. This scenario is a reality in many ecosystems around the world, where invasive species pose a serious threat to the recovery of endangered species. Invasive species are organisms that are not native to a specific location and can cause harm to the environment, economy, or human health. When these species are introduced to new habitats, they often compete with native species for resources such as food, water, and space. This competition can lead to a decline in the populations of native species, including those that are already endangered. For example, consider a native bird species that relies on specific plants for nesting and feeding. If an invasive plant species takes over the habitat, it can outcompete the native plants, leaving the birds without the necessary resources to survive and reproduce. This can hinder their recovery efforts, making it more challenging for conservationists to bring their populations back to sustainable levels. Additionally, invasive predators can have a devastating impact on endangered species. When non-native predators are introduced to an area, they may prey on vulnerable native species that have not evolved defenses against them. This predation can lead to significant declines in the populations of these endangered species, further complicating recovery initiatives. Invasive species can also introduce diseases that native species are not equipped to handle. These diseases can spread rapidly, leading to high mortality rates among endangered populations. The introduction of pathogens can create additional barriers to recovery, as conservation efforts must also address the health of the remaining individuals. Furthermore, the alteration of habitats by invasive species can disrupt the delicate balance of ecosystems. Changes in soil composition, water availability, and overall biodiversity can create environments that are less hospitable for endangered species. This habitat degradation can make it increasingly difficult for these species to thrive and recover. In summary, the presence of invasive species can significantly hinder the recovery of endangered species by competing for resources, introducing new predators and diseases, and altering habitats. Understanding these impacts is essential for developing effective conservation